Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Travis Orbach,
Here.
Hal Glanville,
Here.
J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
Deborah Johnston.
Here.
Bill Lukens.
Here.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Gary Telkamp.
Here.
Linda Varvel.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our standing reminder, Council, if you have a conflict of interest, please let the rest of the Council know before you vote. Can I get a motion to approve an amended agenda? The first item is new business item B. We're removing that item. And then new business item E. Changes from a 3-year contract to a 1-year contract. Misty, keep me honest.
Stupid duck.
And then Misty also handed out, we're adding a new business item H. And I think when Misty actually prints up the minutes, it will end up being I because we're dropping B. But for the purposes of tonight's agenda, we'll call it H. And that's to recognize and record the names of the 3 suppliers and their quotes received for the purchase of 4,000 gallons of 100 low-lead aviation gasoline by the Hot Springs Airport as required by South Dakota Codified Law 5-18C-6. Purchase made with City Services Velcon at $4.40 per gallon. Other vendors considered were World Fuel, Ascent Aviation Group at $4.44, and Dooley Petroleum at $4.57. So our amended agenda is to remove new business item B, amend new business item E from 3 years to 1 year, and adding new business item H, recognizing and recording the names of 3 suppliers.
Make a motion to approve an amended agenda, removing new business item B, adding, correcting new business item E from 3-year to 1 year, and then adding a new business item H, recognizing and recording the names of 3 suppliers and their quotes received for the purchase of 4,000 gallons of 100 low-lead aviation gasoline by the Hot Springs Airport as required by South Dakota Codified Law 5-18C-6. Purchase made with City Services Velcon at $4.40 per gallon. Other vendors considered were World Fuel, Ascent Aviation Group at $4.44, and Dooley Petroleum at $4.57.
Seconds.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the June 2nd council meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 2nd, 2025 meeting.
Second.
There's more to that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. A motion, let's see. A motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th, let's see, where are we at? Approve the
Second.
minutes of the June 2nd council meeting, known corrections, Public Works Committee next meeting. Date should be June 23rd, and City Administrator report free dump week date should be the 9th through the 13th.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the June 9th special council meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes
from the June 9th special council meeting to canvass the election results.
Second.
I think Larry was first. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the bills in between?
I make a motion to approve the bills in between for $307,910.76.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And can I get a motion to approve the current claims?
Make a motion to approve the current claims for $126,063.31.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Communications from the public. Is there anyone that'd like to address the council tonight? All right. We have two public hearings tonight. The first one's at 7:10. I suspect our council update is going to take a little longer than the 3 minutes we have. So let's go ahead and jump down to personnel. Can I get a motion to approve personnel actions A through E?
I make a motion to approve personnel actions A through E.
Second.
Deborah?
Thank you.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. We'll take a short pause here. Three minutes goes by real slow when you're watching it.
Oh, your hockey team's behind. That's just as bad. It's a long 3 minutes.
I don't have a hockey team.
It's like 2/3 of a power play. No, 1/3.
Anybody in the audience have a clean joke? Life experience you want to share? All right, we're at our first public hearing, our 7:10 public hearing, to to act on the license application from the Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce for a special sale alcoholic beverage license for the all-school reunion event to be held on July 5th, 2025 at the Mueller Civic Center, 801 South 6th Street.
Good evening, City Council. Amber Sierra, Executive Director, representing for the Chamber of Commerce. We bring our application before you for the liquor license for July 5th, 2025 for the all-school reunion event at the Mueller Center.
Is there anyone on the public who'd like to speak to this? Council, do you have any questions for Amber?
These things are pretty standard, so we've done this before.
Can you folks hear Amber on the audience?
It is on.
It takes a moment for it to warm up, and you have to speak right into it.
It was.
Do I gotta push a button?
You shouldn't. It should be on.
There, I heard it. When you were laughing,
How
I
about
could
now?
hear it.
Yeah? Okay. Do you want me to read it over?
No.
No.
No, you're good.
No. Oh,
Comes the boss.
I think we got it.
our IT expert's coming down.
I think so. Did it come on? Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear it?
So,
It just took a minute. I had to tilt it a little bit.
Just use your outdoor voice inside.
Next time I will.
all right. So nobody from the public or council has any questions?
No questions for me.
All right, let's go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:12. Then we're going to need a motion to either approve, deny, or postpone the license application.
I make a motion to approve the license application from the Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce for a special sale alcoholic beverage license for the all-school reunion event to be held July 5th, 2025 at the Mueller Civic Center, 801 South 6th Street.
Second.
Gary, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Amber, your call. We're a couple minutes away from our 7:15 hearing. If you'd like to start your council update for the chamber, when we get to 7:15, we'll just ask you to take a pause,
Okay.
and then we'll get into that public hearing, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay. That would be really great. Unfortunately, I don't have a quarterly update for you. I looked through the previous director's items, and I couldn't find what it is that you, what updates you're requiring.
Oh,
So-
I can send you a bunch of old ones. I have a
That-
folder where I've
that
saved
would
them.
be great.
I'd
That
be
would be
happy
great.
to. And then all of our council videos are on our YouTube channel through our website too, and so you can watch some too, because my minutes don't cover everything. So I'll send you some links.
Okay, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
So I apologize for not having an update ready for you. But if you have any questions for me, I'd be willing to answer those as well.
One of the things that would normally be on your update was how successful your wine walk was.
Okay. The wine walk update, we had a pretty good turnout from what I'm hearing from the community, close to 450 people. I think the exact count, it varies from about 425 to 430-ish, depending on who's counting the water bottles and the wine glasses. But we had close to 450 people. I think it was successful with the transit as well. It sounded like we had quite a few people that were able to get rides with the transit.
I did hear one lady state that it was the best wine walk ever.
That's amazing. Good to hear.
Not sure like which end, I don't know how much wine she'd had when she stated that, but she was pleased with the event.
Is there any other updates you'd like to hear about the events?
What about the Valor Parade?
The Salute to Valor Parade went really well. We had, despite the rain, we had 15 vehicles. And from what I hear from all of the parade attendees. We had quite a few people, even in the crowd or on the side streets. Maybe not as many as we'd like because of the rain, but there were people out, so that was exciting. The weekend kicked off on that Friday with the wine walk, and then Saturday we went right into, if I remember the schedule correctly, we went right into all of our events, which I believe Saturday was the parade. We had lots of rain, but we also had lots of people attending the Pioneer Museum, the World Fossil Finder Museum, and some other organizations around town. So it was a pretty packed town.
All right. So if council has any other questions, we'll go ahead and wait till we get past
Wait.
our next,
One more question.
but
How
we're
are
into our
they-
public hearing.
Oh, are you going to it now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, so let's go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:16 to act on the license application from the Hot Springs Elks Club for a special sale alcoholic beverage license for the Arts and Crafts Festival event on June 27th and 28th, 25th through, and 28-25?
Yeah, the 25 doesn't need to be there, that's the year.
All right.
I wouldn't have put it there, but.
26th, June 27th and 28th at Centennial Park, 275 North Garden Street. Anybody here from the Elks Club? Anybody from the public? Mr. Paul?
Robert Paul, 1327 Schofield Street. I think you all know my position on this sort of activity, but since it's a public hearing, I'll state it one more time. At events of this nature that are family-oriented, I don't have real good feelings of offering alcoholic beverages at these events. I think it really poses a poor example to younger people and children. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
So, Bob? Come on back down. You've been very good and professional and open about sharing your opinion. And our response is always the same. There's very little criteria that we can look at to decide whether it should or shouldn't happen. Do you have any thoughts along those lines? What would your suggestion be to council?
I know that these events go on, and I know everybody expects to be able to get drinks at them. I am not at all certain why that should be, because you certainly don't need the alcoholic beverages to have the event. I'm not certain where the revenue is going, whether it's being put back into the Elks. I'm not sure this is really a high revenue or a high money-making operation for them. I don't know that I have any comments on how you can judge criteria like this. If it's in a public park, I really am hesitant about seeing alcoholic beverages served. I think our parks, I think our parks should be dry. That's my opinion. So whether it's an arts and crafts festival, whether it's a dance or one of the musical events or whatever, do we really need to have the alcohol there to make it an successful event? I don't think so. I know that doesn't answer your question, but I don't know that I have a real good answer for you. Maybe just restructuring ordinances to where alcoholic beverages are prohibited in city parks.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the council? Let's go ahead and close the meeting, or close, yeah, the hearing at, we'll cheat a little bit, 7:20. Then I need a motion to either approve, deny, or postpone.
Make a motion to approve the license application from the Hot Springs Elks Club for special sale alcoholic beverage license for Arts and Crafts Festival event on 6/27 and 28 at Centennial Park, 275 North Garden Street.
Second.
Larry seconded.
Got it. So
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. All right, we'll move on to our ordinances. The first ordinance in front of us tonight, can I get a motion on ordinance item A, second reading of ordinance 1268?
Make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 1268, an ordinance revising Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 154 Subdivisions, 154.02 Definitions, 154.03 Outline of Procedure, 154.04 Design Standards, and 154.05 Required Improvements.
Second.
Discussion. Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Linda Varvel,
Yes.
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Kyle Glanville,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Gary Telkamp,
Yes.
Deborah Johnston,
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston,
Yes.
Bill Lukens.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Can I get a motion on ordinance item B, a second reading of ordinance 1269?
I'll make a motion to approve for the second reading of the ordinance 1269, an ordinance revising Title 15 Land Usage, Chapters 155 Zoning Code, 155.002 Definitions, 155.003 Zoning Districts and Map, and 155.051 Signs, Billboards, and Other Advertising Structures.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I had a question. I know that we're going into the second reading of this, and I read it before, but now then I looked again. This weekend to me was banners placed out on the bridges. And I went back and looked at this thing again, and I thought, well, I thought we had talked about that, bridges, being on the bridges and placement of stuff out in general public. But the sign, one of the freestanding signs on the side of the road stayed there for 7 days, so it went back into the event that was this weekend. And then the other two signs stayed up there until today. So I just thought, we'd rectified all that problem.
So these changes are not effective till 20 days after publication. They're not effective after the first reading. I believe what you're referring to when we talked about the bridges and those guidelines, those were established after the admin finance, under the mayor's direction, created a subcommittee to talk about those kind of regulations, and we're not going to list that much detail in the ordinance because it's subject to change. But these changes are not effective until 20 days after publication.
Okay. I understand it was for the signs and not having advertisement for other businesses, but I just still feel strongly that because we have those bridges, keep stuff off of it. That's
Yeah.
what they're there for. But that's
The
just
Jennings
that's just
and-
how I feel.
Yep, well, the subcommittee, or the, whatever we ended up calling that, the pedestrian bridges, and only one of them on both sides, they can choose which one can be used for advertising events. The Jennings Bridge and the Minnetonka Bridge are not supposed to have any signs other than the city signs on them. And you're right about the advertising. And you can't use public property to advertise a private business.
Okay.
And an event can be advertised as long as there's a valid park reservation. And if you see a sign that's in violation of those things, please come and let us know. You see more driving around town than we do.
You know I
at night.
will, Misty.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, thank you.
I just wanted that for clarification, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, we share that other information with park reservations.
All right.
Anyone else? Misty, would you call the roll?
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Bill Lukens.
Yes.
Deborah Johnston.
Yes.
Linda Varvel.
Yes.
Gary Telkamp.
Yes.
Hal Glanville.
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. On to ordinance item C. Can I get a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1270?
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1270, an ordinance revising Title V Public Works, Chapter 51 Water, 51.01 Definitions, 51.04 Service Line Connections, Terminations, 51.05 Water Meters, 51.06 Service Line Installations, and 51.13 Water Main Extensions.
Second.
JR.
Yeah. He just wasn't as loud as you, but I heard him.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's only because he's closer.
Discussion.
Just, I guess, would like to comment that in the time I've been on Public Works, the issue around who's responsible for leaks around water meters and yokes has been a discussion. I've had a couple of pretty exciting phone calls. And the last Public Works meeting we had that led to this revision language, we actually had representatives from a couple of the plumbing contractors in town, worked this pretty hard, had Public Works engineer there, as well as the water department foreman, and really talked through the issues so that everybody, we believe, is now on the same page, has a common understanding, so that when leaks occur, the ordinance, we believe, clearly addresses whose responsibility it is depending on where a leak might occur, as well as a number of other things. So we're hoping this fixes a lot of past concerns and problems. Did I understate or overstate, Mr. Mayor?
No, you summed it up well. Thank you. Anyone else? Misty, would you call the roll?
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Linda Varvel,
Yes.
Hal Glanville,
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Gary Telkamp,
Yes.
Bill Lukens.
Yes.
Deborah Johnston.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. On to ordinance item D. Can I get a motion for the first reading of ordinance 1271?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 1271, an ordinance revising Title V Public Works, Chapter 52, wastewater and storm sewer, 52.01, definitions, 53.03, private wastewater disposal, septic systems, 52.04, sanitary sewers, connections, and fees, 52.05, existing buildings, 52.07, sewer maintenance extensions, and 52.08, use of public sewers.
Second?
Discussion?
Can we verbalize that correctly? Sewer main extensions, not maintenance.
52.07.
52.07.
Oh, sewer main extensions?
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
left
said sewer
something else.
maintenance. We don't want to get in
Oh,
trouble.
Instead of main.
I'm sorry.
Any questions? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Bill Lukens,
Yes.
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Hal Glanville,
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston.
Yes.
Deborah Johnston.
Yes.
Linda Varvel.
Yes.
Gary Telkamp.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Ordinance item E. Can I get a motion for the first reading of ordinance 1272?
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1272, an ordinance revising Title IX General Regulations, Chapter 94, Streets and Sidewalks, 94.19 Liability.
Second?
Discussion?
They have done all the cement work they're going to do on the sidewalks and in the areas? Or
Do you
I know
have-
that some are supposed to come back and work on a few areas, but is that done?
So who is they?
The
The city or?
DOT, the street people,
Yeah,
the ones that
DOT
they
is done. Other than the area that's been identified in front of H&R Block. They're still working on a resolution for that one.
Okay.
But that's not what this is about?
It's not what this is about?
Nope.
No.
No clarification, then what is this about?
This is changing the ordinance, so if you look for the red letters, the liability for settlement on streets and sidewalks, if there was settlement within 1 year and it was extended to 3 years based on our engineer's recommendation. And that's what he puts into all contracts now as well.
Okay. But this has to do with the work that was done?
No, this
all
is our
sidewalk.
ordinance for all sidewalk repairs,
Okay.
streets and sidewalks.
This is just our general functioning.
No, I
ordinance.
understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the fact is we had new sidewalks
It
put in.
won't go backwards again. It'll be effective 20 days after passage and publication. So it doesn't go backwards to those contracts that you guys are discussing that still had some issues.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying that and I know I'm making a mole out of a mountain, whatever, but we've got streets in town, I understand that part, but the streets that have been worked on by DOT, is this covering that, or are they going to come back and do their work if in a time frame they fall apart?
The
I guess
latter.
The DOT contracts.
Okay, that's what I want a clarification on.
It'd be the latter, Larry.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, depending upon the time of year, giving them 30 days to correct that deficiency could be an issue.
Yeah, it used to be 10, so we can always give an extension, but the old ordinance said 10, so we extended it to 30. A response is probably sufficient. If the repairs can't get completed because of weather, it's understandable.
Any other questions? Misty, would you call the roll?
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Larry Pratt,
Yes.
Hal Glanville,
Yes.
Linda Varvel.
Yes.
Gary Telkamp.
Yes.
Bill Lukens.
Yes.
Deborah Johnston.
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. And our last ordinance, item F, can I get a motion for the first reading of ordinance 1273?
Make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 1273 supplemental appropriation ordinance.
Second.
Discussion? Misty, is there anything you'd like to summarize?
I don't think there's anything that's a surprise on here. The majority of this, you've already discussed and approved. It's just now showing up on the ordinance because we only do these twice a year since it takes time and costs money. But we do make sure that you approve a future supplemental appropriation when it's not in the budget at the time you make the decision. And the other thing is workers' comp, and we talked about this in admin finance. You know, we raised our rates for employees 15% in 2024 for most employees. And then increased wages for part-time with the annual increase that the state had. And so most of our departments and functions and funds fell short of the payment based on the expectations for wages. So we supplemented their budgets to make up the difference.
Anyone else? The item that I needed refreshed on from finance this morning is the additional amount from the 212 for the Fall River Channel repairs. Council, if you remember, you approved for the 2025 budget $50,000 to clean the dip bridges, to bore them out. And the bid actually came in over, so that's what this additional money is covering, is the amount over the $50,000 that you'd already approved.
The contractors know what we've had budgeted, right, before they,
We don't recommend we tell people.
So I'm wondering if it was public
When we're
knowledge.
bidding jobs, what we have budgeted for it.
I don't know if that was public knowledge, I don't know if that affected their.
I mean, our budgets are published, but when we're going out for bid, we don't typically give them an amount.
Right, but theoretically, they could know what we have budgeted and.
I suppose if they watched the budget meetings on YouTube, they would hear every bit of conversation you had about it.
And to Misty's point, we make a a point of not telling the contractor what we expect the repair to cost. But if they've been following the City of Hot Springs, which I imagine these folks weren't, but yes.
I would just tip them off in Publix.
It could have happened.
Now, this came in high, far enough above what we budgeted.
It was kind of a shot in the dark, I think.
Yeah,
We didn't
ours
know what
was a guess, because I think I submitted the numbers. So I know it was a guess.
WAG.
So what was the reasoning for the overbid, the high?
It was approved in this batch of claims. It was like 73,000.
It was 73,300.
Yeah, but as far as a job goes, what do they have to do to cover the cost of that?
We had no comparables to go on at the time of the budget hearing, so we put a number in almost as a placeholder, kind of with the understanding that it was probably going to be more. And so then when Tracy went out for bid, they looked at the job and they said, I think this was the only company that bid on it, said for mobilization, to do the work and to demob, it's going to cost $73,300.
So when that decision was made, I mean, couldn't we have come back and thought better of it?
You did.
We did.
Council approved this before you saw it here. Before we approved the contract, you talked about it and said it would be funded by future supplemental appropriation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was those
Yeah.
culverts were 3/4 of the way plugged. So,
Thank you, Misty.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Misty, would you call the roll?
Travis Orbach,
Yes.
Hal Glanville.
Yes.
J.R. Huddleston.
Yes.
Linda Varvel.
Yes.
Gary Telkamp.
Yes.
Larry Pratt.
Yes.
Bill Lukens.
Yes.
Deborah Johnston.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our resolution. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2025-15, a contingency transfer resolution?
I make a motion to approve 2025-15, a contingency transfer resolution.
Second.
Discussion? Jacqueline, could you kind of update us on this?
Oh,
And then nuisance and complaints.
thank you. Okay. So I guess the only real update on it is that a couple weeks ago, you guys approved the supplemental appropriation for the cleanup and abatement of 1270 South 6th Street. And then also at the admin finance meeting last Monday, it was the recommendation to do another supplemental appropriation of $900 for our code enforcement official and building inspector to attend some more schooling throughout the year. He has a training that he wants to go to at the end of this month, and then there's one more in, I think it's October, that he wants to go to. So there wasn't enough budgeted for in his training budget, so this is just to cover that for the rest of the year for him.
When we planned the budget, we had an employee who had 9 years, 10 years in the job, and we didn't know we'd have one that didn't by this time.
Yeah, their previous employee hadn't done a lot as far as additional training, and the nuisance and complaints, as we've been letting you know, our new building inspector is very much out there in the community trying to get it cleaned up and recognizing the areas that should be addressed first, and 1270 is certainly right at the top of the list. So, doing a great job, and appreciate council's willingness to get that taken care of. I think it's going to send a strong message to the public that we have employees and council and resources now that we're going to be getting a little more aggressive about this. Thank you, Jacqueline. Anyone else?
May I?
Absolutely.
Do we have any hope that we might recover that $12,500?
We're certainly working towards that end, to put a lien on the property. we've asked that the city crews keep very close track on the hours, their labor, their equipment costs, so that we can put that back on the property.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. On to new business. Can I get a new motion for new business item A, to authorize the finance officer to transfer the 2025 budgeted annual operating transfers?
I make a motion to authorize the finance officer to transfer the 2025 budgeted annual operating transfers from 602-water, $125,000, 604-wastewater, $125,000, and 6112-solid waste, $10,000 funds to the 101 general fund for a total of $260,000.
Second.
Discussion? Misty, you're always good about wrapping this up for us every year, but for aging memories, can you wrap it up for us again?
So the city, for as long as I've been here, and I'm not sure how long even before that, has received in the general fund from the enterprise funds of water and wastewater operating transfers in. And I believe George Cotty was mayor 5 years ago, and we added the solid waste fund to that as well. And so this is budgeted, and it helps to support all the functions and operations that the city provides to those enterprise funds. And that's it. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. We removed new business item B, so let's go on to, can I get a motion for new business item C? Approve American Red Cross Facility Use Agreement and PET Addendum for emergency use of the Mueller Civic Center.
I make a motion to approve the American Red Cross Facility Use Agreement and PET Addendum for emergency use of the Mueller Civic Center. The agreement is in effect for 10 years and will be automatically renewed for an additional 5 years unless terminated.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture of where the designated pet area is at. Is that a good idea to have that there on the gym floor?
There's no other area in the Mueller Center that would be better for it. It's not carpeted or hardwood, so the gym floor is probably the safest area. The American Red Cross also requires all pet owners who utilize this space to have their pets in some form of crate. So whether that's the owner bringing it or the Red Cross helping us supply it. And then additionally, there is the pet waste area, so it's not like the pets are just going to be left to run and mess wherever they want.
And I'm not against this, I'm just asking a question. I mean, well.
Yeah, I just answered it.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. The new business item D, can I get a motion to approve and authorize the Gulf Operations Manager to sign the one-year cooler use and branding agreements?
I make a motion to approve and authorize the Gulf Operation Manager to sign the one-year cooler use and branding agreement with Black Hills Exteriors. Is that supposed to be for use?
Yeah.
Okay. On the Southern Hills golf carts for the purpose of providing beverage storage to patrons.
Second.
Discussion? Gary, I think you had a question?
I think pretty well I've answered it for myself. I'm just looking at number 3 here, use of rights. Is the wording on this correct? Southern Hills Golf Course is granted the non-exclusive rights to use a cooler solely on Southern Hills Golf Course carts for the purpose of providing beverage storage to patrons.
Yep.
Are we good with that?
Yep, that's what it's for.
We're not buying the coolers if they're providing them.
Okay. Yeah, I was just,
When's the next month, too?
I think I've thought this through. It's a question, I think my question, I talked to the mayor, and JR overheard me, and I talked to Jacqueline, and I think I'm kind of more comfortable. I just kind of answered my own question. I did want to kind of bat it around a little bit.
Sure.
If anybody else is interested in what I was batting around, I can go further, but if not, I'll be good.
All right. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. On to new business item E. Approve and authorize the golf operations manager to sign the one-year scorecard agreement and proof approval.
I make a motion to approve and authorize the golf operations manager to sign the one-year scorecard agreement and proof approval with Golf Score.
Second.
Discussion?
I handed out to everyone, or almost everyone, and I'm sorry, Larry, I just asked Jill for a pile of them. So what I handed out is just it's a sample. It's what we currently have for our the scorecards. So this isn't the updated version that this agreement covers. Jill tried to send that to me, but the file isn't opening, so I was unable to provide that, but I brought the other scorecard just for some context, so.
So it's been a few years since we've updated the scorecards, and Jill has been working with these folks to make it a little more informative, make it a little clearer. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve new business item F? Approve and authorize the mayor to sign the city school facility use agreement.
Make a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the city school facility use agreement 1 year with 4 additional option years.
Second.
Discussion?
I won't be voting on this.
Thank you.
Abstain.
All right.
I'm going to create more work for myself.
So councils approve this every year. There has been some language change to it, some oversight, some deadlines put into it. Jacqueline, is there anything you'd like to add?
So I think one of the biggest changes that we made to this was under the communication. Under communication, number 6, communication, it says open and timely communication shall be maintained among all members of the interagency team when matters of scheduling or rescheduling are being considered, requested, or discussed. No more than 3 business days shall elapse between communications from the city's interagency team representatives to the district and from the district to the city. And this is hopefully going to help some of the communication issues that there were in previous years between some of our facility directors and our recreation director and the school. So I think giving it that deadline will help encourage a more timely response and help with scheduling.
Who's the contact at the school?
What's that?
Who's your contact at the school?
We contact the activities director, Mr. Deming.
And who is the interagency team and how is that selected?
The interagency team is going to be made up of the recreation director, the Mueller Center director, and the activities director with the school.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was a good catch. Thank you.
One of the other big changes that I think will benefit both us and the school is establishing a master schedule by a certain date, by June 1, ideally. The old agreement had spoken to the fact of the different spaces that were available to the city at the school and vice versa. But there really wasn't an understood schedule that would be set by June 1st to know that the space that the city is requesting at the school would be available, and it wouldn't be changing throughout the year without exceptional circumstances and vice versa. So it just assures that the city is guaranteed as much as possible the spaces at the school, and the schools as much as possible guarantee the spaces at that the city has. So it locks that down a little more formally than we had in the past.
There was one more item that we adjusted in this, and it was under the inspection and notification section, under supervision, enforcement, and inspections. And in our previous agreements, there weren't joint inspections, and this one encourages joint inspections. And also, what did we extend or condense the timeline? Can't remember what.
I think we condensed it.
Yeah. Well, we just adjusted the timeline too, in which the school or the city is supposed to contact the owner of whatever facility is being used in the event that there are any damages. So that was one of the other major changes.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion on new business item G, acknowledge notification of raffle from the Hot Springs High School Alumni Association?
I make a motion to acknowledge the notification of raffle from the Hot Springs High School Alumni Association, who is planning a 50-50 raffle during the upcoming Hot Springs High School all-class reunion, and will be selling raffle tickets July 3rd through 5th, with the drawing to be held the night of the 5th. Proceeds will be split between the Hot Springs High School Alumni Association, the Fine Arts Boosters, and the Bison Boosters.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion on new business item, we'll call this one I, because that's what it will get changed to,
Well, don't miss the travel training that's on the regular agenda.
HI? Yeah, this one comes before, well, all right. You want to recognize the names of the suppliers?
No, the Wesley's travel,
Yep. That's where I think that's where I was headed.
okay.
But its number will change to I.
No, it would be G, because you
Okay.
deleted B.
Then on
All
the
right.
second page, your new business continues, and you have I over here.
Nope, those were, that's not new business. New business goes to H.
Down below the executive
Oh,
session.
yeah.
That will be after the executive session.
Oh, okay, will it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but it won't be I, will it?
We'll let Misty figure that
G,
out.
H,
Oh.
yeah. Because I don't put I's or H's or J's on the minutes, so we'll just read them.
Next.
Okay.
What's next?
So,
So you're looking for the travel training request now?
yes, if I can get a
Okay.
motion for new business item,
Whatever.
travel training request for building inspector Wesley Foss.
I make a motion to approve the travel training request for building inspector Wesley Foss to attend the South Dakota Municipal League Building Officials Summer Training in Pierre, South Dakota on June 26th through June 27th.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And then next we'll go to the new business item H, to recognize and record the names of 3 suppliers and their quotes received for the purchase of 4,000 gallons of 100 low-lead aviation gasoline.
I make a motion to recognize and record the names of the 3 suppliers and their quotes received for the purchase of 4,000 gallons of 100 LL aviation gasoline by the Hot Springs Airport as required by South Dakota Codified Law 5-18C-6. Purchase made with city services, Balcon at $4.40 per gallon. Other vendors considered were World Fuel Ascent Aviation Group at $4.44 and Dooley Petroleum at $4.57.
Second.
Linda, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Well, that brings us to our committee reports. First committee report, Admin and Finance. JR?
Buckle up, it's a long one. Admin Finance met at 1 PM on June 9th, 2025. Roll call at 1 PM. Present were Mayor Bob Nelson, Finance Officer Misty Summers Walton, City Administrator Jacqueline Kelsey, Councilmember Deb Johnson, Councilmember Gary Telkamp, and Chair J.R. Huddleston. Old Business Committee reviewed the following in reference to PPE and clothing. Number 1, PPE clothing. 2026 budget estimates per position employees. Much discussion took place regarding the proposed changes with committee members. 2 shirts did not seem like enough for part-time summer employees, and 3 was considered. It was also discussed that employees would not be required to wear logoed clothing each day, but must always wear the appropriate footwear and safety gear. It was discussed that both full-time and part-time employees should get a boot allowance. Item A, full-time 5 t-shirts, 2 long-sleeve shirts, and 1 hoodie to start. Jacqueline reviewed the list of estimated expenses using up-to-date quotes from a vendor. Misty recommended rounding up for budget purposes. $100 per FTE was agreed to the amount to use for budget purpose. Item B, part-time. 3 t-shirts, 1 long sleeve shirt. Jacqueline stated it would be approximately $26 per part-time employee, and it could change to 3 shirts, estimating $50 per part-time employee. Item C, $200 allotment for steel toe or composite boots, PPE. Discussed, $200 for boots and $100 for Arctic boots. Item D, list of required PPE for each position, department for budgeting. Jacqueline is still working on the required PPE list per department and position. Amounts to budget will be determined soon. Number 2, review the list of known pending ordinance revisions. Ordinances remaining at this time include Chapter 51 Water, Chapter 52 Wastewater, Chapter 93 Fire and Prevention, and Chapter 94 Streets and Sidewalks. These should be ready for a first reading by the next meeting. Number 3, Assistant Finance Officer versus Deputy Finance Officer, discussion, review, media, activities, responsibilities, and funding for reclassification. Committee reviewed and agreed to send to council as an info item and include in 2026 proposed budget. Number 4, Wells Fargo versus First Interstate, compare banking services and fees. A meeting was held with representatives from First Interstate, and a side-by-side comparison was done to compare product, services, and fees. No significant savings or service enhancements were identified. It was agreed to keep banking services as they are. New business. Item 1, Mayor none. 2, committee member items. Councilmember Telkamp requested info on the elected officials workshop. Number 3, review monthly finance officer reports. Misty will provide for the next meeting. Item 4, request for Lisa Cruz to assist with expense of $368 resulting from required second mailing for use permitted on review notice for 706 Jennings Avenue. The committee discussed and declined the request. Number 5, 2026 Budget Prep Progress Report and Council Meeting confirmed for Tuesday, July 29th and Wednesday, July 30th. Misty sent budget worksheets to the department heads who are to complete and if needed meet with City Admin Jacqueline. They are required to be returned to Finance by July 11th. This is a hard deadline. Number 6, travel training budget supplement for building code inspector ordinance enforcement official, $900. Committee concurs to add to the budget using contingency dollars. Number 7, Fall River County Dispatch Agreement 2026 budget estimates postponed, discussions ongoing. Meeting adjourned at 2:45 p.m. Next meeting is July 14th at the Mueller Civic Center at 1 p.m. Subject to your questions or comments.
Thank you, JR. Airport Advisory, Gary?
The Hot Springs Airport Advisory Committee met on Thursday, June 5th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. at the Hot Springs Municipal Airport. There's a call to order and roll call. Members present: Shane Miller, Mark Bucksbaum, Mike Bogner, and Petra Wilson. Employees: Airport Manager Ivan Venner, City Administrator Jacqueline Kelsey, Public Works Engineer, Utilities Director Tracy Bastian. Elected officials: Alderman Gary Telkamp, Alderman William Lukens. Airport tenants: Ian Bell, Ray Campbell. Members of the public: Josh Scott, Troy R. Lutz, and Cindy Donald. The agenda was approved as written. There were no communications from the public. Communications from tenants: Ray Campbell from Southern Hills Aviation reported that they are hosting the Black Hills EA Chapter 39 for their monthly meeting on Tuesday, June 10th. Social at 5:30 p.m., no liquor, by the way. 6 o'clock dinner, followed by business meeting and speakers. Ian Bell of Skydive, South Dakota. Petra Wilson of Balloon Aviation. Marty Larson, Glider Flying. Clint Buznitz, Badlands Stoll Flying. Ivan Venner, Airport Update. Airport Manager Update. Monthly fuel sales: 1,370 gallons sold in May, which is down 40 gallons from 1 year ago. Current wholesale price is $4.49 a gallon, and current pump price is $5.99 a gallon. Flight operations for May were 95, 17 balloon launches and 0 landings per Petra Wilson. Mechanical issues on the large tractor have been repaired. All the airport mowing equipment is operating without any issues. Ivan reports that the Colorado Pilots Association arrival is June 13th, and ground transportation has been arranged for their off-site activities. Drainage issues on the west elevation of the new T-hangars continue to be a problem. I will be addressing those issues as reported in last month's minutes under old business. Airport observation, opportunities for improvement, none were made. Old business, Charlie Baker, KLJ, reports that the FAA grant application for AWAS 3 has been submitted to the FAA and SDDOT and is being processed. When the grant is issued, it will be sent to the mayor and city attorney for their electronic signatures. New business. City Administrator Jacqueline Kelsey reports that the facility lease with Southern Hills Aviation expired on June 1st, and they are continuing as is until such time that a new lease can be negotiated. Further discussion as to Balloon Festival and participation from the general aviation community for activities immediately following the balloon launches from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 3rd, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. and the committee stood adjourned at 9:17 a.m.
Any questions for Gary? Thank you, Gary.
Welcome.
Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management, Travis?
The Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management District Board will next meet on Thursday, July 10th, 7 o'clock here at the Mueller Center.
Thank you. Evans Plunge Advisory, Linda?
How about me?
We skipped Deb.
Historic Preservation, Deborah?
Thank you. I have something to say. Historic Preservation Commission met June 4th, 5 p.m. at the Mueller Center. Present were Carl Hall, Christine Heidebrink, Joe Nickshea. Staff present was Jacqueline Kelsey, Wesley Foss, Deborah, and myself. Members of the public were Jason Heidebrink and Bob Bartley. Minutes were approved, agenda was adopted and amended. New business, update on the flag sign ordinance change. The first reading on the ordinance revision was approved on Monday, June 2nd. The second reading was tonight. And approved. The new ordinance will be implemented within 20 days, and enforcement will commence on July 7th. Number 2, new gel facade, a letter to the county commissioners. It was discussed that a letter should be drafted to the county commissioners regarding expectations that the new gel facade falls within historic guidelines and that they present a design concept to HPC prior to construction starting. During this discussion, it was also pointed out that prior to presenting said letter, the HPC should conduct a thorough review of the historic guidebook as well as the historic ordinances to make sure that information is in order prior to having it referenced. The city administrator will be emailing a link to both of those items for the members to begin reviewing. Restoration, historic hot springs sign for the Keep Hot Springs Beautiful was tabled until a concept design is presented. Number 4, 321 North River Street Certificate of Appropriateness. This is the Fargo Mercantile Building where Second Chances Recycling and Restore store is. Carl presented a COA for painting the facade, which is the trim pieces of the 321 North River Street in colors similar to the current Second Chances Recycle, Restore, Repurpose business sign. Christine made a motion and it was approved, seconded. Number 5, 144 North Chicago Street Certificate of Appropriateness. The Fall River Thrift Store submitted a COA to request to add vertical letters at the corner of the building within the mural reading thrift store. This is the mural with all the bicycles and the animated animals riding them. And they want to put thrift store right on the corner going like this. And that was approved. Number 6, Evans Trees and Flag Display. Bob Bartley was present to advise the HPC that the roots of the 2 large trees in front of the Evans apartments have become destructive to the structure, porch, and pose a threat to the sandstone retaining wall. According to his research, he also feels that they cannot both stay and thrive in the shared space. His recommendation is that one of them be removed and the remaining tree be monitored. This was not an actionable item, but members agreed that if the roots are threatening the structural integrity of the historic structures, they need to be addressed. Bob also pointed out that the current flagpole in front of the Evans is very small and there's inadequate lighting. One idea he presented was to have a full flag display with each military branch represented. Another option was to simply have a larger American flag, state flag, and improved lighting. Upon further discussion, it was relayed that flags will be going up on each of the new towers along the suspended sidewalk, and members felt that having all of them in front of the Evans may distract from the structure and be excessive with the other flags. The recommendation was to pursue the larger American flag, state flag, and improved lighting for them. Under old business, number 1, addition of the 110 South Chicago, deterioration by neglect. This is the old Frankie's bar. This situation continues to be monitored and updates will provide as available. This item can be removed from the agenda until further notice. Number 2, unscheduled comments from the public. This is just going to be moved to the top part of the agenda. The city administrator did comment that the city is continuing to work towards repairing the gazebo, but funding continues to be an obstacle. She's investigating some potential avenues forward on this issue and will continue to provide updates. The city is also applying for grants to assist with replacement of the staircases that are currently in disrepair and blocked off. Number 3, deterioration by neglect properties. We still have the 243 North River Street, 611 North River Street, and 143 South Chicago. These properties continue to be monitored by the city building inspector. It was determined this item may be removed from future agendas for the time being, and updates will be provided as available. Legislative option for funding. Carl contacted Liz Almley with the State Historic Preservation Office to discuss potential funding options. One of the points he conveyed from the conversation was that any state or national funds would needed to be channeled through a 501c3. In the future, he would like to reach out to other HPCs and SHEDCO for input and support, as well as drafting a formal letter to our state representatives. There was additional discussion about inviting the Deadwood HPC down for a walking tour within the next month, but members decided it would be prudent to review our ordinances and historic guidebook prior to that meeting. No update from Save Our Sandstone, and the meeting adjourned at 7:02, and the next one will be July 2nd, 5 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
Any questions for Deborah?
I do have one comment to make. The effective date is actually going to be July 15th, 2025, not July 7th.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I have a question, Deborah. I don't know if it falls under you, but the mural on the north side of University as you get to the top, it looks like it's not complete. Or is there going to be more painting? Looks like there's a balloon there that needs to be painted. Some kind of a logo on either end that's just...
What it depicts, it is complete. What it depicts is an antique postcard. So those are kind of faded out stamps is what those are supposed to be.
Okay, thank you.
But it is done.
Thanks.
And the same people are doing the mural on the side of the Fiber and Friends right as we speak.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else?
You mentioned submitting to the county or the commissioners for the jail. What's the status on that? Are they still working on that?
They're
Or is that
still-
just like a just in case? You want to have
Yeah, it's just something that I found out that they hadn't even thought about in all of their discussions.
Right.
So they don't have any plans yet.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Deborah.
You're
Evans
welcome.
Plunge Advisory. Linda?
Okay. The Evans Plunge Advisory Committee met on June 12th, 2025 at noon with Kari, Lily, Tom, and myself. Under operations, we discussed that 2 people at the front desk had quit, and she is looking for applications for that. The Plunge is very busy serving many groups coming to our area. Lifeguard training will be conducted this week with 5 new lifeguards and possibly a 6th one. No head lifeguard applications have been received yet. Under equipment and fitness area, progress is being made on the roof, with Wesley conducting an inspection and coming up with a plan. This may be the result of prior hail damage that was never addressed. The HVAC system is working well, as is the outdoor pool. Swim team classes and lessons. As discussed at a previous meeting and addressing other concerns, it was determined we need parental consent to implement the wristbands suggested to allow those under 16 to be in the gym area. Staffing issues are still a problem in monitoring. With busy summer season, it was decided to revisit this in the fall. Under review of monthly incidents, there was an incident that occurred in the steam room that involved the use of essential oils and something similar to bear spray. Law enforcement and EMS responded and it became a civil issue. There were no public comments. We adjourned at 12:30 p.m. The next meeting will be July 10th at noon at EPMS. And we were joined by Jacqueline after we adjourned. Any questions?
Brett have a scoop on that?
Do what?
That's funny, the bear spray thing.
Linda,
Yeah.
do you have any information on swimming lessons or swimming lessons taking place during the summer? Is that more fall?
I think that's more in the fall and winter, like maybe March and April.
Okay.
And then the swim team is kind of on hiatus at this time too.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, Linda?
Yes.
I talked to Wesley about that roof, and I'm under the impression that that roof is old, it's spongy, there's spots that need to be replaced on it. Yes, the hail damage did affect it, but not to the point that it would be like that. It's just, it needs to be replaced, and he's trying to
Okay.
figure out a spot to go and work on some different spots so that hold off a little bit without having to replace the whole structure of the roof.
Yeah.
So.
They said that Wesley was working on coming up with a plan, and I
Right.
don't know what that is at this time.
Well, then I let the cat out of the bag,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tom was at that meeting, and
Yeah.
him and Wesley and I went and walked the facility with Kari to check out
Right.
the damage, and that was prior to this meeting, so I think Tom probably gave a pretty good update from everything that was discussed with Wesley, and Wesley went up on the roof
Right.
and was looking at it, and then he has some input that he emailed to me about what his recommendations are going to be going forward, so it's just a matter of getting together with the appropriate people and going over what to do, but I'm sure it'll be something that we are discussing more in depth very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
Anyone else?
And I would offer my services to the city, and if you need any property inspections done as far as hail, and I also have access to probably one of the best property adjusters in the 5-state area that can assist also. Free, no charge.
So you and I get a bucket of blackjack and a spatula, and we can fix it? Kidding, I'm kidding.
Anyone else? Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Parks, Recreation, Beautification, Larry, Linda?
Next meeting will be next month, July the 2nd at 2 p.m. here at the Mueller Center. Everyone is invited. We did not have a meeting this time because we didn't have a meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, Deborah?
Planning and zoning meets this Wednesday, the 18th, 6 p.m. at City Hall.
Thank you. Safety, Bill, JR?
Safety met on Thursday, June 5th at 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Civic Center. Present were Alderman Bill Lukens, Alderman J.R. Huddleston, Alderwoman Deborah Johnston, Mayor Bob Nelson, City Administrator Jacqueline Kelsey, PD Chief Ross Norton, Fall River County Emergency Manager Dark Coy, Assistant Fall River County Emergency Manager Gary Baker, Fall River Hospital Quality and Safety Manager Renee Staley, Fall River Hospital ER Nurse Manager Laurie Haskovitz, and Code Enforcement Officer Wesley Foss. Members of the public, Tom and Margaret Cohn, Beth Bogart, Tina Baldemaro, accompanied by Molly, Violet, and Kaylee. Adoption of the agenda was amended to include an update from Emergency Manager Dark Coy and Southern Hills Southern Hills Golf Course electrical equipment upgrade. Communications from the public. Several members of the public who live on Happy Hollow presented their concerns regarding speeding on Happy Hollow Drive. Another resident that was not able to attend the meeting provided a letter highlighting the neighborhood's concerns and provided a map marking locations of homes. Chief Norton shared what has been done in the past and is planned for the future, and encouraged all residents to call 911 and report all such speeding and traffic concerns at the time they are witnessed, so that the officers can be dispatched to the area and specific areas of concern can be highlighted for extra patrols. The question of speed cameras was brought up, and the background of why those are not a viable option was provided. Additionally, the members of the public present were encouraged to always walk against the traffic when there is no sidewalk available, so they can protect themselves from oncoming or potentially distracted drivers. Update from the police department. Chief Norton provided an overview of significant incidents since the last meeting. The chief provided an update on potential speed enforcement tactics to address concerns that have been communicated to committee members. He is researching the purchase of a handheld radar gun using, if appropriate, donated funds. This would allow discrete speed enforcement efforts in the several areas the committee has received speeding complaints about, including the Happy Hollow area. This type of effort should be more effective than an officer being parked on a street, which simply slows traffic down while the PD vehicle is present. Old business number 1, review status of action item list, item A. Fuels reduction education materials are being posted on the city website and Facebook page. This item is considered closed. New business item number 1, e-bikes on the Freedom Trail. Item A, the ordinance calls for safe and prudent speed and operation of bicycles, including e-bikes. Number 2, safety grates on Dip Bridge. The committee discussed the benefits and concerns of replacing the debris grates on the inlet side of the Dip Bridge culverts. It was determined there were more benefits to replacing the grates. City administrator will instruct city crews to reinstall the grates. Number 3, status of South Dakota DOT speed limit study on Highway 385. Item A, Chief Norton will contact South Dakota DOT and communicate the need for study. Emergency Manager Dar Coy provided an update on the Black Hills Energy Wildfire Protection Plan. The committee is continuing to work with the Emergency Management Office on a communications plan, as well as compiling and posting emergency preparation consideration all residents should be considering. Emergency Manager Dar Coy indicated that about 4,000 people in Fall River County have already signed up for Code Red, and we encourage anyone who has not signed up to do so. The links to the sign up are available on the Fall River County and Hot Springs city websites. Mayor Nelson discussed the need for 480-volt disconnect at Southern Hills Golf Course. Course manager was instructed to get quotes to have the proper equipment installed. The committee agrees with and supports the installation of this equipment by whatever funds means is appropriate. We adjourned at 2:30 p.m. The meeting is Thursday, July 3rd at 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Civic Center. Subject to any questions you have or comments.
Yeah, you were talking about those e-bikes. Can you go expound on that a little bit more?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The e-bikes.
The e-bikes.
E-bikes.
You know, somebody contacted one of the police officers and was concerned about the e-bikes on the Freedom Trail because they operate so quietly.
And quick, fast.
And did we have an ordinance that prohibited them? And we do not. And what the ordinance does call for is that anything that operates on the Freedom Trail should be at a safe and prudent speed. So that's That's what was communicated to the officer that night, and that's what was discussed at the meeting.
So regular bicycles aren't allowed on sidewalks, so would they be allowed on the Freedom Trail as well?
Yes.
Yeah, but not
Okay.
on the sidewalks downtown. And that is stated in ordinance.
Okay.
And I think I've pointed out to you, Bill, too, that I've seen a couple of motorcycles on the sidewalks and on our pedestrian bikes now. So I don't, getting a little out of hand out there, I think. Anything on those two puppies?
You know, it's all a matter of enforcement and what you can do with one or two officers.
I had
And
a,
again, if, I go back to the same thing we told the people on Happy Hollow. And I'm not picking on you here, but don't come to a public safety meeting and tell me that you saw something 2 weeks ago. If you see something that you believe is unsafe or against law or against the ordinance, call 911 at that time so an officer has a chance to address the issue if it is in fact illegal. Talking about it at a council meeting or at a committee meeting does nothing because it, at that point, is hearsay. So,
Well, I agree with that, Bill, but I also sitting there bringing this up because we are on video, the general public, and there are people that watch. So getting that information out in that way also lets the general public
Right.
know that we have these ordinances, we have all these things in place, dialing 911, getting tag numbers, getting descriptions of vehicles, individuals is also another way to do that. So that's why I'm bringing this
and I
up initially.
appreciate you
Yes, sir.
giving me the opportunity to bring that up. And
You got it,
And
boss.
that's important, folks, too. If you see something, it is not a bother to call 911, and you don't have to have all the information, but if you have some of the information, communicate that. A little bit is better than nothing. And that's what we communicated to the folks that joined us at the meeting. So,
And is our e-bikes going to, we thinking, are you, is the safety committee thinking about starting an ordinance, adding those to the ordinance?
no.
Because some of those puppies are fast, they move quick. I drive the transit bus all day, and I will tell you, these things are on the road, they're on the bike trails, they're all over. And I'm just giving you information.
No, I
That's all I'm
know
doing.
you are, Larry.
Yeah.
I say no
Yeah.
because it would be an absolutely unenforceable ordinance. If I was younger and had the right,
Now, is that your
sprocket
opinion, or is that your opinion or the group's opinion?
I think that was the group's opinion, that we would
Okay.
not support an ordinance because an individual on a bicycle can go, to some people, quite uncomfortably fast and just as quiet as an e-bike. So the ordinance states, and I'll see if I can restate it, as far as, what words did we use, JR, about safe and prudent speed? So regardless of whether you're on an e-bike, a mobility scooter, a bicycle, or a tricycle,
You're bringing up my ticket.
you need to go at a safe and prudent speed. And so an ordinance, you know, I don't believe would do, the committee discussed it, and it wouldn't gain us anything.
Okay.
I think just common courtesy, because there needs to be more awareness on that, because I walk my dogs on the Freedom Trail all the time, and I've had multiple bicycles without the E on them come up quietly at fast speeds, and they don't give me any warning. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, and my dogs are interested in whatever bushmeal there is, but so they don't notify me that there's a bike coming up, and they should say, coming up on your left, or bicycle coming up, or something to allow a pedestrian to know that they're being ridden up behind, so that I can gather up my crowd and everyone can stay safe. But it's not And it's not safe for our bicycles to be on the streets. So, the Freedom Trail keeps them safe as well.
Anyone else?
One last thing, I've talked to some of the police officers, and bicycles, they have to follow the rules of the road also, just like a driver is in a car. So stop signs, left turn, right turn. Of course, like you're saying, Bill, it's hard to enforce something like that, but we're talking about this on video so that information is out there. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Thanks, Deb.
I had a couple things. I'm so sorry. Okay. So just a couple things. So after the Happy Hollow discussion in the safety committee meeting, the police chief and I went up to Happy Hollow and looked at some of our sign placement to see if maybe there's anything obstructing the speed limit signs. Now, I don't know that it's going to help, but there are tree branches that are obstructing these signs. So we're going to either A, cut the branches, or B, move the sign around the curb, probably both. So that could contribute to it, but I don't know. But we did go look. And then as far as the grates for the culverts, those just weren't put back because the maintenance crew is working on refurbishing them. They're painting them and cleaning them up, and they haven't been cleaned in quite some time. So, but those are going to go back when they have some downtime. It was free dump week last week, so it was all hands on deck and everyone was really busy. But they've been working on that as time allows. And then lastly, I just want to make a comment. As far as calling 911 for these more non-emergent situations, I just want to put the dispatch number out there, which is 605-745-5155. Feel free to call the dispatch for non-emergent situations. Thank you, that's all.
Anyone else? Thank you, gentlemen. Public Works, Bill, Hal?
Public Works will meet, and this is a date of the week change. We will meet Monday, June 23rd, 1 p.m. here at the Mueller Center Conference Room.
Thank you. Southern Hills Golf Course. Southern Hills Golf Course Committee met on June 9th at 6 p.m. out at the Pro Shop. Updates from the grounds manager. Jason reported number 6 Middle Tee is now open for play. The steps along the driving range are being constructed, and all sod has been placed along the edges of new paths. Jill from the clubhouse reported that there are 3,400 rounds year to date, 230 season pass holders, 144 players on the firefighters tournament, and 1 report of public urination during the tournament. Gift that keeps on giving. Old business. T-markers, there's nothing to report on that. Public urination, via phone call with Jason, Bob Sprenthal requested public urination to be added to the agenda and stated public urination is happening everywhere and not just on hole number 14, and is still a problem that we need to do a better job of fixing. Bob Sprenthal mentioned having just a sign on 14 shows favoritism to a council member that lives adjacent to the hole. Mayor Nelson stated that the action of the committee changes based on who attends the meeting and is discouraged that people are more concerned about a sign than the inappropriate action itself. Don Olstead stated the committee recognizes this issue is between the private landowner and the individual. Jason stated a course marshal could help with inappropriate course behavior and other rules violations, but is difficult to organize due to the difficulty of the job, authority given, budgets, and logistics in general. And no action was taken on public urination. Council, if you'll remember, the last recommendation that came from the Golf Course Committee was to take the sign down, and I had mentioned to you that I had told them not to do that I wanted to have another conversation with the committee, and that's the conversation we had. I'm still of the opinion that the sign needs to stay until the behavior changes. However, we figure that out. So the recommendation that the committee made last time is the first time that I'm not going to pass that recommendation on to you folks. We need to do something different, and we'll get that figured out. Jacqueline, Jill and I met today to talk about a number of issues related to the committee itself, plus other issues, so there's still ongoing discussion with that. New business, green speed. Jason stated he thought the green speed might be getting too fast. Dave stated he thought the pin placements needed to be located in easier locations. Jason believes increased green speed will make pin locations more difficult due to the slope of the design. Committee voted as far as the speed. They would like it a little faster. Action will be taken. They'll raise the height, slower actually. They'll raise the height of cut to reduce green speed and survey golfers on green speed pin location and incorporate one flag color versus 3 to help make pin placement easier with the ultimate goal of preventing and putting from a putt rolling back down on an uphill putt. Communications from the public. Dave asked about five-sums. Jill stated five-sums are not allowed per course rules. Jill and other committee members, Dave and other committee members stated that there appears to be inconsistency, with some being told no five-sums and for others, five-sums being allowed. Jill stated all golfers are told no five-sums, and that comes back to a course marshal. I think there's some benefit into us looking into how do we get a course marshal out there to address not only public urination, but other issues that are causing slow play or other things that are affecting how enjoyable the golf rounds can be. So we'll continue having that discussion. The next Southern Hills Golf Course Advisory Committee meeting is to be determined, and that's based on what decision I arrive at about the useful benefit of the committee. We'll keep you updated. Any questions?
I'd like to make a comment. I was going to not make a public comment. I was going to send the council members, blind copy them. Since Mr. Sprendall seems to want to point me out and think that as a council member I'm getting special treatment, I'm going to try to say this without too much something or another coming out, but in order to sit on the council, you have to be a resident of the city of Hot Springs, and you have to be a resident of the ward that you serve in. I happen to live in Ward 2, and my residence happens to be on the golf course. So when the issue came up with the urination in full view of my house, I went to 2 different golf course advisory committees with the concern that I really didn't enjoy that kind of view. I did not go as a council member saying, because I'm on council, fix the problem. I went as a resident of the city of Hot Springs saying, I don't like seeing people pee in front of my house. So just so that the council knows and anybody else listening to this, I'm not asking for special treatment as a council member. That is inappropriate, and I would never do that. What I asked that committee to do, I asked Jason to do, and he worked on it, is please fix it so people aren't peeing in front of my breakfast room window, because I don't like it. And if you like it, well, you got issues. So thank you for letting me say that, even though I really didn't ask permission. So I'm not asking for anything special because I'm a council member. But as a resident of the city of Hot Springs, I don't give up any rights because I sit on the council. I do give up a lot of my First Amendment rights, but I'm not giving that right up to complain about an inappropriate action. So, thanks.
I want to back up what Bill's saying from my point of view. I may be a councilman, but I'm still a taxpayer in this town, and I still have a right to voice my opinion. I still have a right to appropriate action when I voice that opinion. And I'm not supporting Bill in this, but I am backing him up by saying, I understand where you're coming from, Councilman Lukens, and I feel you, sir.
To your point, Bill, that has been shared each time that this topic is raised at the committee level, that my advocacy for getting this fixed has nothing to do with you being on the council. I would advocate just as strongly for anybody else that has to watch an irresponsible adult male urinate in public and think that it's okay. It simply is not. And I also shared with them yours and Larry's last point, that being on the council is tough enough, but we don't give up our rights to be treated like any other resident of the city of Hot Springs. Thank you for your comments, Bill and Larry.
Thank you, Mayor.
So we're on to City Administrator Report. Misty, do you have anything you want to share? I'm sorry, Jacqueline, do you have anything you want to share?
I just have a couple items that I would like to share with you this evening. I'm going to start with the streets maintenance update. I just want to say job well done to our streets and maintenance team for their safe and efficient work during last week's free dump week. A total of 494 city residents were served. These efforts provide residents with an affordable and convenient opportunity to clean up their homes and properties, contributing to the overall appearance and health of our community. So great job to them. They worked real hard, and they were also very appreciative for the support of various other city employees and council. So I also have a code enforcement update. During Free Dump Week, code enforcement official Wesley Foss assisted 11 residents with property cleanup, including several elderly individuals who were physically unable to do the work themselves. He contributed approximately 24 hours, some of his personal time, to support these efforts. One resident commented, We've lived in our home for 22 years, and we have never talked to anyone from the city before. No one has ever came to us before, and Wes came and he talked to us and gave us resources and helped us clean up our yard where we physically couldn't, and helped us make it look better, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate him. Wes's efforts exemplify a proactive, service-oriented approach to community engagement. I have an update about the meeting agendas. I've put together a new agenda template for all committees to begin using. The goal is to help keep meetings more focused, efficient, and consistent across the board. It also gives our committee materials a more organized and uniform appearance, which reflects well on the city as a whole. I'll be sending out the template to the appropriate committee representatives. Please be sure to start using it for all future meetings. And lastly, I have a reminder for everyone, and I say this with all due respect, but I do want to take a moment to remind everyone that while I'm always available to help and answer questions, I encourage you to make use of the many resources available to you, especially when it comes to ordinances or routine information that can often be found quickly. I'm always glad to assist, but with limited time and a full workload, your efforts to research independently, when possible, are greatly appreciated. Thank you for your understanding. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Any questions for Jacqueline?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. The city crew that worked the cleanup, what a marvelous group.
Yes.
I'm telling you, the longest I sat was 10 minutes to get down there, and that was because they were crushing down what they needed to get more in. Great job by those folks. They need big time kudos.
And I would echo that. I was there.
Absolutely, thank you.
Any other questions for Jacqueline?
I had someone approach me about, you're going through all these ordinances and we're updating the ordinances, and they were wondering how much input the community has in changing these ordinances that are being readjusted, and I don't know what your process or plans are, as far as, are you going through all the ordinances, or just where your goals are there?
And this is not just me, this is
Yeah, it came
Misty
from
too.
committees.
Right, yeah, so these recommendations came from committees, I'm not going through things, just identifying them, and then there's some ordinance changes that have been in the works for, before I started.
Right.
So they're finally being brought before you. So, no, we're not just combing through ordinances to update them. I wish I had that kind of time to proofread and perfect, but and as we come across things too that we identify that changes need to be made to reflect other changes, so.
The fire department came to us with the changes to the fire ordinance. The businesses along Main Street came to us with the changes on the signs ordinances. The water, Public Works came to us with the changes on the water ordinances. So they come from committees. We don't just generate the changes. And I don't wish I had the time to change all of them. I wish we'd just stick to what they say, because everybody reads things different. We all interpret things different. So to change a may to a shall, I hate those kind of changes, but when we identify specifically through committees or from the feedback from our community, changes that need to be made, they've kind of gotten bottlenecked until we got this bulldozer here that likes to push things through. So you're seeing a lot of them right now, but I agree with Jacqueline, a lot of them were in the works and being discussed before she really even got here.
And then also, just to piggyback off of that, so the changes are, brought up by the community and by committee members, but if there's anybody that doesn't agree with changes that are being recommended, or they're concerned about what say they have in them, all of these changes have a hearing and a first and a second reading.
That's what I
they're
pointed
more than
out.
welcome to attend and voice their concerns. So I just would like to remind everybody who's listening of that too.
And going forward, when there's going to be some changes, maybe we ought to highlight those so they're easier to pick out.
We do. Every change that's in
There
the
was a couple
packet.
tonight that were not, that you brought up, and I did highlight them, and some changes, so just, it'd be easier.
In the ordinances?
Go back there.
Maybe the agreement.
Maybe you didn't get a color copy.
Maybe I didn't get a color copy.
You should have.
And we're specifically referring to ordinance changes right now, not agreements, contracts, anything, ordinances.
Jacqueline, I know I get on your nerves, and I want to tell you this, okay? Because I do have a full-time job, and because I don't have the time to come down and do a lot of stuff, I do appreciate the time that you do give me, and I appreciate the time that you're giving me answers for Ward 1, so I want you to be aware of that. And since you've been city administrator, I'm not stroking your ego. I'm just letting you know I have seen a big change in things down there, and I want you to know that I appreciate what you're doing, ma'am. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Definitely.
While Gary's looking, I'd like to add,
Yeah, I'll find it.
I saw
Not a big deal.
I saw you with your yellow.
I would just love to know, so that way we can make sure that we
Yeah, I'll find it.
can correct anything that was not how it should have been.
yeah. I'd just like to talk a little bit about the agenda that Jacqueline had mentioned. There's going to be a standardizing in the format, so for current council members and council members that will be coming on and will be given committee assignments. I am probably more guilty of it than anybody, allowing conversations sometimes to go longer than it needs to, and sometimes straying off of the topic itself. And I need to ask all of you and myself to try to tone it down a little bit and stay more focused on the agenda and try to get through the meetings a little quicker than some of them are. We have some committee meetings that have gone 2.5 to 3 hours. and that's okay for the people on the committee, but in most cases, we're handing an awful lot of work off to a city administrator that now has to follow up on all of that, and we've chewed up a heck of a lot of her time just sitting through long meetings. So as much as we can, let's try to get a handle on our meetings. Larry is very good about keeping his meetings to an hour. I'm not suggesting a particular time limit, but I think there is a better balance than some of the meetings that go long, and there are times that we kind of get off topic and we talk about things that maybe happened in the past that may not be contributing to what we're talking about at the minute. So, anything we can do to give Jacqueline some time back. I've seen a number of her timesheets, and there's been times she's been working from midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning to address city issues. And I don't want to burn her out. As you've all seen, your interactions with her, she is a heck of an asset, and right now, between the finance officer and our city administrator, the city is in great hands. So we need to continue that. So, Finance Officer Misty, do you have anything?
I did provide you the report, the financials through the end of May. You have those in your packets, as well as some notes about some other items. And to save some time, since this meeting is going long, I'm not going to go through that. But as always, I'm here to answer any questions you have. It's important you review the finances and ask any questions. And then I'd like to just take an opportunity to thank both Hal and Travis for your time here on the council, your input and your interest in serving your community in this way. This will be my last meeting with both of you, but you're always welcome to come. And we appreciate the time that you spent with us, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have just a couple things for you. First, I think I need to change the order of reports because it seems like every time Misty or Jacqueline take a couple of my notes in here. So it seems like I'm just tagging on because they said it and I feel like I should need to say something. Just a reminder to the Ward 2 residents, June 30th, 2 p.m., City Hall is your deadline to submit letters of interest to fill the vacancy that we have in Ward 2. So I encourage anyone that wants to get in the fray and be accused of getting preferential treatment because you're on council.
You're not selling it very well.
Step up. Quit complaining and try to be a part of the solution. So to Misty's point, I also would like to thank Hal and Travis for stepping up and giving of your personal time to help the city move forward and do things a little better. So thank you, gentlemen. It's been fun. I appreciate your professionalism on the committee. And thank you. And best wishes to whatever you're going to be doing next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Gary found this. Okay.
So with that, executive session is next on the agenda. So if I could get a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, we go into executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2-3, legal.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And as you folks can see on the agenda, there will be an action taken after we come back from executive session. Oh my God. Potentially there'll be an action.
Go to?
Where's it at this year?
Rapid City.
The holiday, or it's not the Holiday Inn anymore, right?
Low battery.
Like he said.
All right. I've got us back at 9:53, Misty. So can I get a motion on new business item I, approve and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Stanton and Sons Construction.
Make a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Stanton and Sons Construction for the property abatement and emergency cleanup services at 1270 South 6th Street, Hot Springs, South Dakota.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Don't even joke.
He said his final act.
I'm not putting that